What we do in life echoes in eternity.
What up, y'all? It's Devin with UPTV2, aka the Dot Connector. And if there was ever a time that you thought about pulling your kids from the public school system, then let me go ahead and let you know that that time is now. If there was ever a time that you thought about homeschooling your kids through this whole pandemic, or maybe even before this pandemic, then let me go ahead and encourage you to do just that. Because right now, we are living in a world that is totally trying to indoctrinate our children into this beast system. And as this video goes on, I'm going to show you exactly how they're doing that. And let me tell you, some of the headlines that I'm seeing right now about these schools, they're frightening. They're absolutely frightening that there are teachers who are being caught and they're admitting that they're trying to turn your children into little commies. There are blueprints written out for these elementary schools on how to turn your child into a social justice warrior, not a free thinking individual, not a person who can critically think for themselves. They want to turn your child into someone who acts off of emotion, who acts off of feeling. These social justice warriors who have no control over themselves and they get offended by every single thing. This is how you lead a nation into a new world order. And you see that taking place not just here in America, but globally, all around the world. So in order to save your children and to save their minds and to help them in these difficult times, the best thing that we can do is pull our kids out of this public school system that is set up for them to fail.
I think you have increasing reason to be skeptical of the public education system. I also looked at the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario's guidelines for education from kindergarten to grade 8, and what that is in essence, and I think I will do a video about it in the relatively near future, is a blueprint for transforming children into social justice warriors. It basically says that. It's like you don't have to be a conspiracy theory to read that. I mean, we have social justice tribunals in Ontario. And so the idea is, well, if you're going to get your children, if you're going to get people to, what would you say, favor equity properly, well, then you better start teaching them while they're young. It's like, maybe not.
Family, I'm very concerned about food shortages coming to America. No, not local or short-lived shortages. I'm talking about a national food shortage that will affect everyone, everywhere, for a very long time. Would you be ready if that happened? Probably not. That's why I urge you to get some long-term storage emergency food from my friends at My Patriot Supply. They're the original Patriot Survival Company. Over the past decade, they've served millions of American families like yours. Their mission is your survival. And right now, you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day, probably soon. This 4-week kit has a wide variety of delicious food that provides over 2,000 calories per day, the right amount for optimum survival. Go to UPTVsurvival.com so you can claim your 4-week emergency food kit and save 25% in the process. Order a tasty starter kit for each member of the family and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your door. That's UPTVsurvival.com. Most Americans, even those who don't believe in homeschooling, would agree that our public educational system is a failure. Yet and still, many Americans send their kids to school expecting different results. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of insanity: to try the same thing over and over again and expect different results. But throughout the years, we have been programmed into believing that this is the only way, that homeschooling our children is not an option. And because we live in households where 2 parents are required to take care of a majority of our bills, this will always be impossible for us, so we must continue to send our kids to this broken system.
What are the children actually learning in school today? Well, first and foremost, they are learning that America is a fundamentally backwards and racist country. They are learning that it is a good attribute, it is a virtue to hate your country. It means you're educated, you're woke. They're learning to undermine their parents. They're learning that their parents are also backwards, and they're a part of that antiquated, old, backwards American culture that needs to go. They're smarter than their parents, which is interesting because right now, I believe we rank somewhere near 37th in mathematics, our children, and getting worse. They're learning that breathing is a crime, that they're diseased. They're learning that they themselves are inherently racist if they have white skin, or inherently oppressed if they have black skin, or if you're like me and you have a biracial child, I don't know, somewhere in between, maybe half privileged, half oppressed. So I'll ask the question again, why are your children still enrolled in the school? And I want you to think about that and answer honestly.
I'm sure there are many parents out there like myself who isn't surprised by any of this. If you have kids, then you should notice that your kids' schools have made major changes to their curriculum. For example, many schools no longer offer spelling. Our kids no longer come home with spelling words. This is a key way that kids learn new words, learn how to spell those new words, and learn the definition to those words. But because they have removed this, now kids are getting dumber, and their ability to read and comprehend with their reading is severely going down the drain. This is why we as parents must step in and take control, because nobody can teach your child better than the parent themselves, even though the government and the mainstream media will like you to believe different. But it gets worse than that. There was actually a teacher in California who was caught on tape by Project Veritas admitting that he was hired to turn our children into little commies, and he does this by scaring them to death with propaganda.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you
Scare the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
Meet Gabriel Geit. He's a public school teacher paid for by taxpayer dollars at Intercom High School in Sacramento, California. Geit, who teaches advanced placement government classes, is not shy about his involvement in Antifa's local chapter. He even has an Antifa flag and a poster of Mao Zedong in his classroom.
After secretly being filmed by Project Veritas, with this teacher on camera confessing that he has only 180 days to turn his students into revolutionaries, another reporter from Project Veritas caught up with this same teacher on the street walking his dog with his wife. Notice how the teacher is wearing a tank top with the hammer and sickle communist symbol on it.
I am a journalist with Project Veritas. I'd like to talk with you about some of the statements you've made. I believe you said it.
You know what Project Veritas is.
Well, we're journalists.
Okay.
And you mentioned to one of our colleagues that you have 180 days to turn students into revolutionaries. Would you like to expound upon that?
We do not consent to this filming. We do not consent to these questions.
Well, you're in a public place, and I don't think parents consent to their students being, quote, turned into revolutionaries. So if you'd like to give a comment on that, those newsworthy statements you've made, I think that would go a long way to resolve some concerns in the community.
We would appreciate some distance. If you could step away, that would be
Well, Mr. Geip, if you could please just provide me commentary on these statements. I mean, a student voiced their uncomfortability in your classroom with the Antifa flag. Do you recall that? Do you recall how you responded to that student? You tacitly implied they might be aligned with fascists. I mean, is this the kind of behavior in line with the mission statement of your high school? Don't you give students extra credit for going to partisan left-wing events? As you can see, they run in shame. They had a lot to say to my colleague, but Mr. Geip has nothing to say now. This is the face of radicalism. This is people who have something to hide, yet when the mic is in their face and they have the opportunity to share, they don't want to.
But what are your thoughts? Sound off in the comment section and let me know. And because there will be no UPTV without viewers like you, I would like to give a special shout out to anybody who has donated or supported the channel in any type of way. This is Devin with UPTV. I love you, family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also hit that bell so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Give your life to Yeshua, and I'll holla at y'all later. Peace.
So, as you guys know, Oregon is passing a law, or trying to pass a law, or pass it, I don't know, where people of color, minorities in high school don't have to know how to read, write, or do math in order, you know, to graduate and stuff like that. Listen, they're not doing it for your own good. They're doing it to dumb you down. They're doing it to make you stupid. Don't fall for the bullshit that it's racist. It's not. They are literally trying to dumb you down. And that's the truth. So take with it what you will. Probably won't get any views or likes on this, but it's the truth. Oh, another thing. And the reason why they stopped doing curse off is so that way you can't read any of the original documents from like the Constitution and stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you for watching UpTV2. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to UpTV2 and UpTV, or watch one of these great videos here and enjoy. Peace.